Warning: the host of this show may appear more sane and more alive than she really is. Beware of the quiet ones who like vampires.
Hello, and welcome to the third edition of the Vampire Book Club. I apologize for this being late. Okay, so today we're talking about companions. I know, it's so exciting, the third book in the series. I enjoyed this book very much. Basically, what happens in the book is we have our enforcer of all enforcers, Esteban, and we have our companion, the lovely homicide detective, Selena. You start off, you find out that she hasn't, Celine and Esteban haven't seen each other for 2 years because they're both very reluctant about this whole companion thing. Esteban didn't want one, and she didn't want to be one, so they were trying to just say, yeah, it happened, but we didn't want this. But then again, they do. They like want each other, but they don't want to be companions in the way of, you know, she'll eventually become a vampire. And they're kind of odd in their thinking about their thinking towards their companion relationship, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, so she's a cop, and you find out that she's is a member of a chat room that's full of companions. It's like a companion support group chat room, and so they bitch and moan and talk about having a revolution and changing the way everything is once they become vampires, or some of them say we should do it now and revolt or whatever. And so they just like participate. Just like, yeah, so yeah, whatever. You know, my friend, you know, isn't around, so whatever. And then there's whispers of a vampire murder in the chat room, and she gets, her computer freaks out before she finds out the details, and she's like, fuck, I was getting good. And lo and behold, later on that evening, at night of course, she's just relaxing and thinking about Esteban, and he shows up at her house, and they make sexy time. And, you know, of course, she's like, oh, like, glad he's there, but hates that he's there. She's like, she loves him, but she hates him, kind of thing. It's a very interesting love-hate relationship. And, they make sexy time, and he ends up leaving. She's like, you're not staying, are you? And he's like, no, I'm not, I'm leaving. I'm just passing through town, on my way to take care of something work-related, blah, blah, blah. And then he leaves. And then she's sad. And the next day, she's at work, and they get a call. They go out on this job, and guess what she finds? A dead vampire. There's a vampire, head cut off, heart ripped out, chainsaw was used. And she's like, okay, I have to cover this up because the mortal world can't know about vampires. It's a bad thing. And so she brings it to the local enforcer, and he takes care of it. And Esteban ends up coming back because he was on his way to Denver, I believe it was, where a vampire had been killed. But then he came back because on his way there, he sensed with his powers that, oh, there's something going on in this town. I have to stay here. And then he finds out about the dead vampire. And it's like, okay, so the killer is here now. Selena is more than just a companion and a police officer. She is a descendant of this very powerful family of white witches, at least on one side anyway. And so she has very strong abilities, and you know, she's a hard ass, and she's pretty much everything you want a heroine to be. So she's awesome. Her Aunt Katie, who is like the matriarch of the witch side of the family. You only meet, I mean, other than her mother, you only meet 3 other people from the witch side of the family. Her aunt Katie, her cousin Paloma, and her cousin Karen. And her cousin Karen is getting married. So while she's trying to deal with this vampire murders, she has to help out with her cousin Karen's wedding because she's a bridesmaid. And so, yeah, fun, right? She's trying to figure out what's going on exactly. You know, she feels bad that her reaction to this dead vampire was to turn it over to the enforcer, because she's like, I don't want to be a part of this world, so why am I following the rules, kind of thing. And she ends up, you know, so of course Esteban ends up hanging out at her house because he's taken over the case of the vampire that died in her town, and so, you know, he ends up staying at her house. And when she leaves to go to work after, you know, nighttime fun arguments, and their whole weird, tumultuous relationship, she finds an envelope on her car and has a coin, one of those gold owl coins that are given to enforcers along with instructions on their next job. And she ends up going to work, you know, trying to do her job, when Esteban walks into her head, you know, with mental telepathic stuff goes on. She gives him a list of everybody whose mind he needs to, you know, adjust so they forget about seeing a decapitated vampire, you know. And she goes to the meeting place that was hinted at on the note, because a person drew a weird cryptic picture, but she figured it out. And she meets Sandy, who in fact who turns out to be a companion, someone who was in the chat room, who in fact is the person who killed the two vampires. And you find out how this big bad guy vampire, Rosho, came into her nest, defeated the nest leader, who was her lover, and so thus took over the nest and all of his possessions, which in fact was her. And so him and his buddies kind of like gang fucked her up, like mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. And sadly, Sandy ends up dying. Swan has to kill her because she broke the law, and he doesn't want to turn her back over to Rosho, who he happens to know is an asshole, a very bad dude. And so his only choice is either to give her back to Rosho or to kill her. So he decides to kill her because that's better. Which, you know, of course pisses off Celine. I mean, yeah, it is better, but, you know, you should have saved her life somehow, or, you know. And so they get in a fight, and he leaves, and her aunt and another vampire, Larry, who was injured, he got his arm cut off by Sandy by accident because she dropped the chainsaw when she was trying to kill the second vampire, who happened to be staying at his house. Larry and her aunt took her to Karen's house, and they realized, oh shit, her house is being staked out by vampires, what are we gonna do? And so our little, you know, heroine decides to send out an SOS to all the companions that go to the chat room. In the end, only 3 of them show up, and we already know these 3 companions because they appeared in the first 2 books. We have Siri, the companion of Slim in the first book, and we have Heaven, the companion of Gerard in the second book. And then we also have Yivajin. I can't say his name, I cannot. But he is one of the companions from the first book, the one who tries to kill the little boy to become a vampire, except now he's a vampire at this point. And so there's epic battles, and Esteban shows up in the nick of time to save Selena from Rosho, and he ends up killing him. All the bad vampires die, get disposed of, and Selena and Esteban realize we're soulmates, we're just gonna go with this, and they go back to her house to make sexy time. The end. I think it's a good book, and I think it's my favorite so far, and I really like how they had characters from the first 2 books show up, which was awesome. and I really liked it. I give it 4 fangs. Yes, 4 fangs. And I can't wait to start reading the 4th book, Laws of Blood Deception. And I'm looking forward to reading that and talking to you guys about it. And I'll see you guys next month. And have a great night. And have fun reading. Bye.